Welcome to the Freedom of Expression studio here at the Gothenburg Book Fair 2021. This is a collaboration between ICORN and Freemuse. And in this conversation, we are focusing on, or we're speaking with Palestinian author Wesam Almadani. And she's in conversation with Freemuse Programme Coordinator Jasmina Lazović on the issue of erasure of LGBTI artistic forms of expression. Over to you, Jasmina.
Thank you very much, Gerd. As Gerd mentioned, we are discussing now how LGBTI artists, LGBTI-themed artworks, and activists in this field have been suppressed all around the world. One of the reports that Freemuse recently published is about this very topic. The report was published a year ago, and it's called Painting the Rainbow, How LGBTI Freedom of Expression is Denied. Wesam is one of the persons to whom we spoke when we were produced during the process of production of this report. And actually two of us met a couple of years ago when you were collecting stories of lesbian stories in Arab world, how you defined it back then. Can you, for the very beginning, for the opening of this session, tell us what kind of stories were you looking for and why would you felt urged to collect these stories?
First, hi everybody. I would like to start with the question why. In 2013, I had a friend who committed suicide when she was pregnant. And then I felt like, okay, now somebody have to talk about that. It's enough. So I decided to write her story and the other story because I wanted to put the focus on how these people live and and also talk about their suffer.
And sorry, when you say these people, you mean lesbian women?
Yes, I mean lesbian women in Middle East, and also especially that everybody denied that they are exist. So because they are not exist, so they don't get the support. So I felt like it's very important to talk about what they face everyday life and how they had like a struggle to just be themselves. On the other hand, it was really important that one book is talking about them not using the erotic language, because also one of the problem is when some writers want to be like famous, they write about them but in an erotic way, commercial, and that in a very conservative society, that makes the people even hate them worse, you know, so they don't want to hear about them. So I wanted to do something that can give another picture, show a real picture, not like a commercial picture. And when I collect the stories, I really wanted to first prove that they are exist in all Middle East. So I had like a different stories from different countries. And the other thing is I wanted to show a lot of sides of that. Should we talk about the blue chapter right now, or?
I just wanted to ask you, because you now mentioned a couple of countries where you were collecting stories, and in all of these countries, homosexuality has been still criminalized. So how difficult was it for you to really find the stories that you wanted to?
First, it's a tricky here, because many of these countries don't have a law that make this criminal, but they have a way to put the people in jail. And they have a way to kill the people, and they have the family tradition and a lot of things that when you talk to the all the world, like, okay, your country don't have any crime called being a homosexual. Yeah, they don't have it, actually, because we are talking about people who's not exist. So how can we have a law against them? But they use another laws. And when we are talking about difficulty, that was, like really hard. The first year, I remember, I couldn't get anything because like the lesbian especially, it's, when you talk about Middle East, always a woman is a shame. So when you're talking about lesbians, so it's shame on shame on shame to the family. So they have a very secret communities, and in the Facebook and secret groups, they don't allow anybody to get in. So especially if you are a psychology or a journalist or a writer, because they are scared. They don't want to get killed. So it's really hard to find your way to get in. So it wasn't that easy, but in the beginning of the second year, I was succeeded to get a connection, and I met some of them like physical, not only online. I met them in Egypt. I traveled to Egypt, and I have been in Qatar also, and and some of them like traveled to Egypt to meet me. So that was a long journey. I spent like 7 years in writing this book.
And to what extent did your work on this book make you as a person at risk, or how vulnerable you were while you were working on collecting these stories?
Yeah, it wasn't that easy. I was under the risk all the time. I get threatened on my phone, and my life become really in danger, especially that I live in Gaza, and Gaza is very conservative community, and I have like a big family, so this can affect my life. And also being, under Islamic like authority and stuff, so that makes this very high risky. And that's how they use this against me. Like we're gonna call the police, and we're gonna tell them what you are doing, and and I get a direct threat about my kids. So I was like, every day they go to school, I ask myself, I'm going to see them again or not. And I remember one day I get a message that the police gonna come and take me and my laptop. So I needed to clean every details on my laptop and send my novel as a PDF and Word document to a Swedish writer, and she's my friend. Her name is Hanna. I sent it to her and I said, can you please promise me to keep this? And if something bad happened to me, this should be published. So, ICORN come to me in a really like important time when I was starting to fell down, and I'm still, because of all this stress for many years, to be under this stress in many years, in addition to the war and everything, it's like a hell, Right now, I don't feel, I live in Norway for 3 years now, but I still don't feel secure. I still I need to work on this issue.
Before we talk about your experience as an ICORN program participant, would you tell us something about, did you have any, you mentioned your Swedish friend, but did you have any other friends who were supportive of you while you were working on this book back home?
Yeah, also I have Jenny also. She's a Swedish writer also. Yeah.
But and how did other writers in Gaza reacted when you would share your ideas for the book? How was it received?
Polite, first of all, polite and isolated. I become isolated, and I had to, they start to fight against me and against my art, and that wasn't easy at all, because it's when you are in man community who's dominate, so it's really hard to come with this kind of ideas that can maybe take the power from them. So it wasn't easy at all. I was feeling that I am totally alone.
And at what moment did you decide to leave Gaza?
Well, I was feeling down, and I was like under depression, but I was like waking up every day and remember my friend. I remember every girl. I remember one of the story. It was like a girl who was like 14 or 13. She get killed in Egypt by the hand of her brother, and nobody heard about her. She just died in secret. And one day I met her girlfriend, and she's the one who told me this story. So I felt like these people deserve that I have to continue in this. So I was like in between, what I gonna do? I continue, stop, and it was like impossible to publish the book when I'm in Gaza. That's other thing also. Not only that I was in risk, but also my book, the body's schizophrenia, was in risk. So I thought that if I want to publish this, if I want to give the lesbian a voice, if I want to make this book see the light, I have to leave. And if I want to live in peace one time in my life, and my kids live in peace, I have to leave. And then actually I was really scared to apply to ICORN, because I didn't feel safe. So Jenny and Hannah, these people who applied for me, so I was really lucky to have these friends, and Swedish friends, that applied to ICORN, and I was accepted immediately, and I get an invitation to Laravik.
As you've just mentioned, a year ago, you managed to publish your book, The Body's Schizophrenia, what is English translation of your book. The book is published in Arabic. How did you manage to publish? Where was it published?
Yeah, it wasn't like easy. And I want to thank Kina, my coordinator, because she worked with me hard to get a publisher. So we wanted to have a good publisher to promote the book, because we want this book to go everywhere. I wasn't think about how much money I can get or something, but it was more about the ideas, to spread the ideas. So we sent to 3 publishers. One of them refused.
Where were you, these publishers? Sorry.
One of them was in Egypt. He didn't respond at all. And 2 in Beirut. One of them refused the book after 1 week. So probably he didn't read it, because he didn't have the time to read it. So yeah, it get rejected. And the publisher who published it to me now. The thing that make me really feel sorry, that it was like one of the famous writer criticized the book in a positive way in the Beirut TV, and it was written about it in one of the newspaper in London, and it was in a radio program called like in a Monte Carlo channel in France, but nobody, and I mean nobody, talked about the topic, and that's make me more sad even, because I wanted somebody to have the courage to talk about the topic. They talked about, okay, it was really good structure, the building of the character, the language, but that's not what I really want to hear. I want to hear something else. But I get 3 messages from our readers. One of them is my friend, and 2 I didn't know them at all. And it was really nice to hear that this book find his way to their heart, and it touched it. And one of the important message I get was from my friend, when she said to me, you told me a lot about these people, but it was really hard for me to understand. But after I read this book, now I understand what you are talking about. And I'm so happy that you wrote it in that way that nobody can judge her. Because in that book, I decided to focus on how she feels. Because I wanted the people to see how much it's hard to be a lesbian in a conservative society. how's hard to grown up, and you hear that if you do this and that, God hate you and your family hate you, and so you start to hate yourself. So can you believe how much is hard?
And can you tell us something about the structure of the book? How did you develop the concept?
Yes, actually, I have two tellers in the book. One of them is the soul after she commits suicide, and she's telling us a lot of secrets that the diary, which is a second teller, didn't tell. And the diary is like a message to her first girlfriend. So you have these two voices talking to you in the whole book. And because we are living in like two lives in the same minute, like not two, but we can say like one fake and one real. So it looked like we have like our life is a lie, So that's why I decided to give numbers like the first lie, the second lie, and so on. And the last 3 chapters, it's like the beginning of the truth, part of the truth, the whole truth. But we were talking about the blue capital, the blue chapter.
So yeah, I understand. So this is the fiction book. So you wrote these stories from your perspective, how
Yes.
you understood it after collecting a lot of unfortunate stories about lesbian women in MENA region. But you also decided to include some of non-fiction materials, some real
Yes.
messages.
The blue chapter, how I decided to do that, I met somebody who actually teaching Arabic literature in the university, and he asked me, okay, what are you doing these days? I said, I'm writing a novel. So what it's about? I said, about a lesbian in Middle East. He looked at me, do you want to be famous? I was like, what? What do you mean? Yeah, because we don't have lesbian. I was like, what? Yeah, this is a disease, and it didn't spread here. It's only in Europe. And actually, our women have a morale, so I don't think it's realistic. You are just trying to be famous to write about commercial. I was like, thank you, because then I get an alarm in my head. I need to have evidence that they are exist, and that's important. So I create the blue chapter in the middle of the book because I don't want to put it in the end, and so the people don't read it because nobody reads the end, So I put it in the middle of the book without number, the blue chapter, and I picked all the material from a real Facebook groups and sites, and from organization also, some work in secret in Middle East. And I choose to put it just like the people wrote it, like with a different accent, like Egyptian accent, Iraqi accent, something like that. So to show that this people is real, so nobody now can say they are not exist. And I kept all the links with me. So if anybody said they are not exist, please see. And I wrote like a note that this chapter I didn't write. This is the people talking about their suffers. And I put also in that chapter some of the secrets about how they communicate and how they meet each other and how they fix their issue.
Your book is really one among very rare books with this topic in the MENA region. You managed to publish it. You found publisher in Lebanon, one of the countries where, according to the Freemuse research, it seems a bit easier to publish this content, and it's almost impossible to publish anywhere else. But do you know to what extent is your book present in bookshops around different countries in the region?
It's all about Corona all the time. Because I wasn't lucky to publish it before Corona. So the book theory is not like before, And as I said, I don't feel that it was easy to promote this book. So nobody talk about the topic. So even I know that right now I'm sitting with you, but my book is in Jordan, in Jarash, sitting there. But if you are there, my question to you, why you will buy it when my publisher have like 300 books there in the same place? Why you will pick this book? So promote the book is something important, and that's why I was really sad, because I felt like I didn't do my work in a good way, because I am still not able to promote the book.
You think that it's only because of COVID-19 restrictions, or?
No. It's because of the topic, of course. As I said, the people who comment, like write comments about the book, or they only talk about like literature, criticize like how it's wrote, how it's built, how blah, blah, blah. And if you are a normal reader, this is not interesting for you. Okay, a lot of books written in a good way. Why should I buy this book?
I understand the message you want to say. Another question about, so you've been working for a while on this book. For years you were collecting the stories, but you managed to finish it only once when you arrived to Norway through ICORN program. Is it only about that you were detached from these everyday threats and sense of uncertainty, or what's that different in Norway in comparison to when you were back home?
Well, I have to say that I'm so grateful to ICORN, because they choose for me a wonderful city that I can feel like relaxed. It's a very beautiful nature. It's like a good atmosphere. So, you know, especially writing the end, was something very hard. First of all, any writer, when any writer write a novel and come to the end, it's really hard, because you get like emotion contact with the characters to end the book. It's something hard. So in addition, you are talking about hard stories that, you know, it exists. And the last chapter, I'm talking about the death of my friend. It wasn't at all easy. I remember when I was writing in chapter 9, when she get the punishment, because she was in Saudi Arabia, and she get the head, you know, to clean her soul. She was like they clean, like wash, I don't remember the word, you know, clean her head or wash her head.
Brainwashing.
Yeah, brainwashing. So she went there to take the punishment and then to marry this man she was married to. You know, I never talked to her. I never talked to her about this, but I felt it when I wrote it in every minute, how she get the first one and the second one, how she talked to God, how she felt about her religion, about her identity in this hard minute. When I wrote this part, I was like crying. I couldn't stop crying. So it wasn't easy at all, and with all this around me, so it was too hard to finish. And I start to feel like meaningless, because I start to feel I'm never gonna publish this book. How can I do that? So I start to feel like everything is I don't know. I feel like nothing gonna happen. I lost everything, and you know, the depression feeling and stuff. So yeah, and I was in a really bad situation, and I was lucky that I had Elizabeth to contact me all the hard time. You know, she was in her vacation. I'm really sorry for her. She was in her vacation, and she needed to contact me to make sure that I'm okay. So yeah, so and to come to Norway, not here, of course. Yeah, to come to Norway and be surrounded with the support and the love and nice place, and start to settle down, and yeah, and everything in their place. So I start to feel, okay, now I can move on in this.
And write it.
Yes.
Thank you very much for putting this story together. While I was doing research for the report about LGBTI artists and art, I like to say that what I realized actually, that no laws, traditions, religions, nothing can totally suppress artistic work on LGBTI rights. It doesn't matter how restrictive some societies are. If homosexuality is criminalized, if in countries there are laws that ban affirmative depiction of homosexuality, which ban you to talk about homosexuality or sexual orientation, gender identity and expression in public spaces. There are always artists who do produce art, who create the music in their rooms, who write their books, find a way how to save them in a way that they don't endanger themselves in a case that there are some police knocking on their door. So I really want to thank you for sharing this story, and maybe briefly, because we are running out of the time, if there are some writers or artists around the world who create their artworks in a very challenging way, the way you did it, do you have some message to them?
Yeah, I will say to them, you are so much valuable than you think. So don't give up, because a lot of people just need you because they don't have a voice. You are their voice. I don't mean to stress them, of course, but I want to say just do what you can to make your art have a voice and talk about others people. We need you. We need you if we want this world to survive. The art have always been like better than the war and better and than anything, and can like carry the change and change the world to a better place. We need that. We need a better place for our kids, at least, if it's not for us.
I hope that they will hear this message and that they will find someone you had back then when you had your friends from outside of Gaza to support you and to really push you and give you kind of strength that you continue with your work. I really hope that after this once when the COVID-19 situation is more stable, that you will be able to travel around the region, that you would be invited to book fairs as this one, but like really in those where these issues are discussed in Arabic language, and that you will be able to talk about your book, and that the book will find its readers, which
thank
I really...
you. But I really want to thank you, and thanks ICORN. I'm sorry I said it a lot of time, because this is a very important organization, ICORN, and your organization, Freemuse, the Norwegian, you know. Yes, these two organizations, one of the most important organizations, they do a lot of good work. So I really wish if they get the support they need to help the other people. So thank you guys. You made our life better, because when you give the artists voices, you save the world in a way or another. So thank you. And thanks for me also. Likewise. And my kids.
Likewise.
Thank you very much, Wesam Almadani and Jasmina Lazović. Thank you for reminding us that this is, of course, continued work for organizations like ICORN and Freemuse that involve courageous artists all over the world. Artists who are willing to take risks on a personal level, who will not be able to publish their work or express their sexual orientations or their artistic interests freely without continued support of organizations, governments, networks of people helping behind the scenes. Thank you very much also for this occasion to raise the issue at the Gothenburg Book Fair. This is the studio, Freedom of Expression studio. We have finished our session here. Thank you so much.